This is Transformers96 here with another video review. This time we have the Marvel Legends from the Onslaught Build-A-Figure wave, Taskmaster. This is the most popular figure of the wave, rightfully so I think. Just figure aside, who doesn't love Taskmaster? I certainly do. Great villain there, and one that's not super well known, but really is quite awesome. So, very nice artwork of Taskmaster on this side. I think it looks wonderful. So much character there. And then you have Demolition Man or Scourge, you know, whatever name you want to give them. There they are on the back. They obviously share the packaging. And the other figures in this assortment, I have them all, and I'll be reviewing them all. Any requests on specific ones that you want to see reviewed, just let me know, because I might not get to them all. They're just, there's a lot of not super interesting characters in this wave. So, you know, Taskmaster I certainly did want to review because he is quite cool. But I've got other figures on my list to review, so some of these might get sidelined. So let me know if you have a specific one that you'd like to hear my opinions on. The Build-A-Figure being the red Onslaught. Very cool. This wave, not a super exciting wave in my opinion. I think that it has some good characters in it, a fairly solid Build-A-Figure, but no amazing figures or characters in it. This is my favorite figure of this wave, and yeah, so let's get into it. So first of all, I like Taskmaster a lot. Really interesting character. I really do like him. I do have a quick question for you guys though about him. It's something that I've always wondered, is that his ability to copy his opponent's moves and skills and things like that, is that a physical superpower of his, or is it just a skill that he has? I've always been interested to know that. You know, I'm sure I could research it and everything, but just quickly, I figure I'd ask you guys while I'm doing this review, because I've always wanted to know, is that a superpower or is that just a skill? So I'll be interested to hear you guys. Let me know if you could in the comments. That would be wonderful. But first of all, this is a rather somewhat obscure type of a look for Taskmaster, I have to say. This, I believe, I mean, it's definitely been in a TV show like this where he has this type of look. I'm not 100% sure though if he's actually completely looked like this in the comics at all. I think that it is mostly a television show thing. If he has appeared like this in the comics, I think that it's been more of a very small comic line. It's certainly not, when you hear Taskmaster, this is certainly not the image of him that you know, springs to mind, which is unfortunate that they have went with that. I would have preferred a classic Taskmaster figure, and I'm starting to do like a slight custom for a classic Taskmaster. It's something very, very easy and slight, but just I kind of like it. Here you go. I'm using the boomerang body, and I just think it looks nice. Obviously using the head, the extra head that Taskmaster comes with, using the sword from Zemo, and then the cape from the phasing vision that came in a 3-pack. I think it looks nice. You know, you can certainly do some more detail in the paint work, you know, add some orange in there or whatnot, but I think that I just like it the way it is. I think I might paint that buckle so that he doesn't have like a lightning bolt design there. I might just paint it full on white or actually paint in a T. And I like the dark blue. It's very dark blue. Looks really cool. And obviously there's a lot of white in him, which does match his hood. And then I will be painting the Vision's cape completely white and not slightly translucent white, just to give that more of a clean look. But yeah, I think it's a pretty easy custom. And, you know, it kind of gives you that more of a classic taste that I was hoping for. So I think that does look quite cool. I, of course, will show you this head on the other Taskmaster. Going into the actual figure here, I really do like this head sculpt a lot, although it's not Taskmaster to me. This is a very strange head sculpt for him. However, I think it does look awesome. It has almost like a hockey mask type of look with a hood, which is you know, an interesting combo there, but I think it looks nice. I like how the eyes are very squinted and have a yellowish look. He does have like armored limbs, which is kind of strange. He's got armor on his arms as well as his legs. This body sculpt, I don't particularly recognize it. Obviously the torso is basically a Bucky Cap torso, it looks to be at least. The legs and arms, I don't recognize them from anything else. They might be from another figure though. I don't think that they're original to this guy. However, they're certainly, if they have been used before, they're used very sparingly. So it is a nice body. I always love it when there's something new on a figure, and for me, of course, I don't have the original figure that this was based off of. So the body is extremely new and therefore very exciting and interesting to me. He has this holster here with some guns in it. Wish the guns were removable. That would have been really nice, especially since he doesn't come with any guns. So it's always a shame when they do that. You know, if they have sculpted in guns on a holster, but then actually come with a regular gun, I'm okay with it. But when they don't come with a gun and just come with the holsters with the guns in them that aren't removable, it is very disappointing. These are reused from Zemo, which is fine. I mean, they look great on Taskmaster. The only problem is the Z is still sculpted in them. I really wish that they could have changed that or just spent the extra money to get rid of those Z's. And they even painted the Z on the picture over here, as you can see. So that's very strange. Kind of lazy on their part to actually, you know, paint the picture with the Z on it instead of just removing the Z from the figure. That would have been nice. The belt, I would assume, is reused. However, I don't personally recognize it, so it could be new. But I do like the silver that they kind of went with. It's almost like a pearlesque silver. It has that kind of matte look, but it has some different shades of silver almost in it. You can see some of the swooshing marks there. Really, you know, it's an interesting shade that they went with, but I think it looks quite nice. The little white stripe in the torso, I like how it's outlined in silver. However, the white just looks a little sloppy. You can see the blue starting to come through it, which is a shame. Same thing on the side of the torso there. A little sloppy, but it's certainly not a focal point of the figure, so it's, you know, not super noticeable. Some accessories that he comes with a lot of accessories, which is great. He comes with this kind of like laser sword. I don't get this, you know. Obviously this is a different representation of Taskmaster than I'm used to, so, you know, I picture him with a much more classic looking sword like this. I think that that's perfect for Taskmaster, so I'm really not into this sword thing that he comes with. You know, it does make him look slightly more modern, but also slightly more cheesy, so I'm not super into that. It came bent, and I've tried to straighten this thing out for a long time, and it's certainly better than it was when I first got it. However, it still is lacking it being completely straight, and therefore it looks kind of silly when you pose him with it sometimes. The shield looks wonderful. I really do like the shield size. I think it's a perfect size for him, as well as it's painted extremely well, except for this smudge of silver that's on the blue part. I really don't like that. It doesn't look good, but it is painted very well, nicely otherwise, and it has a really nice metallic silver to it. I think it looks wonderful, so I do like the shield a lot. It clips on. It also has the peg to be stored on his back if you'd like it as well. Going over articulation, let's take off the accessories so we can dive into articulation. Articulation's, you know, really nice standard articulation for Marvel Legends, basically. He can look down quite far, can look up extremely far, obviously. Ball hinge neck. He's got ball hinge shoulders with a bicep swivel, double hinge elbows, which work quite nicely. As you can see, nice crunch there. Because of the elbow pad, though, they can't completely straighten out, so basically when you have his arm completely straightened out, it still is quite bent. This is annoying to me, however it is something very slight. It doesn't really affect poses, but it's very annoying because whenever I want to like stretch his arm out, it doesn't work, which is a shame. He has ball hinge wrists, hinge swivel wrist. He's got an ab crunch which goes down quite far and back a fair amount. He's got a swivel waist, ball jointed hips, move up quite far, not too hindered by the belt, although there is some slight hindrance by the belt. He's got a swivel at the at the thigh, and I do like the fact that this piece of armor is actually still attached to the bottom piece. It does look quite nice, and it doesn't hinder the swivel. He's got double hinge knees as well as hinge, pivoting, and swivel ankles, which is quite nice. Definitely, I like the swivel with the pivot. It really helps the poses. You know, sometimes with the pivot you can have their legs out, but the pivot is in such a weird spot that it kind of goes like this, so it's nice to have that swivel with it to still have the pivot, however have the foot facing whichever direction that you prefer it. And even with the armor that kind of hangs down over the ankles or slightly over the ankles, it doesn't hinder his articulation, which is quite nice. So now I've shown you the classic or more classic Taskmaster head on my kind of unfinished custom body, but let me show you it on this sculpt. Alright, so here's Taskmaster with the more classic Taskmaster head sculpt on. I don't think that the head sculpt fits the body at all. You know, I love the head sculpt itself. It's really cool. You've got like that bony look. It's a little bit more modern than the completely classic Taskmaster because it does have more of like a mask look rather than a legitimate skeleton face type of thing. So, you know, it's nice because it's definitely a much closer callback to the you know, classic Taskmaster, but still being modern to somewhat fit the body. However, I just don't think that it fits the body at all. First of all, the colors don't match. You know, I don't understand why you would have a white hood and then have nothing else white on you. I mean, it just looks very strange. If this armor was painted white, this would look fine. It would look quite nice, actually. And then he's got like a metallic gold. If his face was more like a silver, then it would match the armor too. You know, just the colors don't match the body, which gives him a very odd, out-of-place look. This looks like I found this custom head and put it on this Taskmaster body instead of it actually being made for the Taskmaster body. And in contrast, the other head sculpt completely fits this body. It has a more modern look than the original one, which fits the more modern body, just, you know, in general, as well as it obviously has a silver pearlesque paint job on the face mask, which matches the armor, and then the dark blue hood matches the body. So this is definitely by far the better head sculpt for this figure. It looks like it fits with the figure, while the other one is a really nice head sculpt and probably my favorite of the two heads. However, it just doesn't fit on that body. So there you go. That's my video review of the Taskmaster figure. Figure itself is actually quite wonderful. I like it a lot. Here's the more classic look, I guess. I'll also compare him with the 3 3/4 inch classic version, just in case you're not quite aware of what a classic Taskmaster looks like. As you can see, this is basically as classic as you can get for Taskmaster. It doesn't need to be this classic, you know, it can have some updates to it, be a little bit more of a modern representation of Taskmaster. However, I definitely think that I would have preferred something a lot closer to this rather than what we got. However, what we got is still very cool. I would love for them in the future to do a modern Taskmaster, or sorry, a classic Taskmaster. However, because they've already made this, I seriously doubt that's going to happen, or at least it's going to happen anytime soon. So I'm not holding my breath for that. However, I will be quite surprised and pleased if they do do that in the future. We'll see, though. So there you go. Figure itself is wonderful. Really do love the figure. A nice new sculpt, or at least a sculpt that's quite rare that we don't see very often at all. It comes with a large amount of accessories, and the character himself is awesome. Just personally, I think that they went with the wrong version of this character. But that aside, that's just my personal preference. The figure itself is excellent, and I would highly recommend it. And like I said, it's my favorite one from the wave. So definitely enjoyed this figure a lot, and thanks so much for watching.